Hey, what's up everybody? I've been doing some research recently on how to get my phone to work in Japan, and I realized that this information usually is not very well consolidated on the internet, so I wanted to help everyone out on figuring out will my phone work in Japan, and if it doesn't, how to get it to work in Japan. The first thing we need to understand is that there is a difference in technology between countries for cell phones. Each tower uses its own sort of technology, and each company uses its own technology. Now, a lot of the world does share the same technology, and in some cases, a phone working in, say, Italy will work in America, or Australia, or vice versa, anywhere across the world. However, it has to share the technology. And what I mean by that is there are two main technology fields, and that is GSM and CDMA. They're just two ways to process a cellular call or a cellular text message. Two ways for the phone to communicate. In America, we have a split down the middle, and half of the country uses CDMA and half the country uses GSM. The part that uses GSM is AT&T and T-Mobile, and the part that uses CDMA is going to be Verizon and Sprint. So depending on who your phone is registered under is what exactly your phone's technology is. So for example, if you have a Sprint phone, it'll most likely or most certainly be a CDMA phone. The importance of this is that Japan runs off of CDMA. They do not have GSM support distributed anywhere in Japan. So if you have a GSM phone, meaning your phone is on AT&T or T-Mobile, it will not work as a phone in Japan. There are ways around this, but just realize that it will not work as a normal phone in Japan. If you have a CDMA phone, it still isn't guaranteed it'll work in Japan, as Japan is pretty picky on giving people SIM cards. So in order to get a SIM card, a lot of the times you're going to have to sign up for a 2-year contract, which isn't a good thing if you're going to be there for 14 days or 4 months. You'll be locked into a contract that you have to keep paying for a phone that you're not going to be able to use. So even if you have a CDMA phone, it still might not economically work in Japan. Along with this, a lot of CDMA phones in America don't have SIM card slots, at least some of the cheaper ones. And that's because CDMA uses a code within the phone to contact the tower. So there's discrepancies on this issue, but a lot of the times you won't be able to get that code inserted into the Japanese network to get your CDMA phone to work. What phones do work then? Well, certain world phones do work between countries, including America to Japan and basically all around the world. And these are aptly named world phones. There are a lot of world phones out there, a lot of lesser known ones that I haven't found. The ones that I have found are the iPhones. The S versions are usually world phones, so they have multiple technology inside of them, allowing them to connect to both GSM and CDMA networks. These phones, however, have to be unlocked as well as with all other phones. They need to be unlocked so that there isn't a carrier restriction on that, which means that, for example, if I had an AT&T phone, it doesn't mean I can just take its SIM card out and stick a T-Mobile SIM card in and just expect it to work. If it's locked to AT&T, it has to be unlocked before any other carrier is allowed to use the phone. So if you have an unlocked world phone, like the iPhone 5S or 6S, or maybe the Nexus 5X, 6 or 6P, then you'll be good to go. If you can find a SIM card in Japan, it will work. Again, the problem of finding a SIM card can be a little bit troublesome, as a lot of them are going to try to lock you into a 2-year agreement. And a lot of the websites to order such cards are all in Japanese, making it very difficult to actually get a SIM card without a Japanese friend helping you. Now that I've told you that most likely your phone will not work as a phone in Japan, what do? Well, there's a way around this, and that is that all the technology, mostly in the world that uses high-speed data on your phone, uses a technology called LTE, and Japan is no different, and it's specifically for data. It doesn't do phone calls, it doesn't do SMS, it's just for data. What that means is that your phone here will be able to communicate with a Japanese tower through data alone. So it doesn't matter if it's a GSM or a CDMA phone, it will be able to work as a data phone in Japan. And a lot of companies in Japan have realized this. So there are certain websites online where you can buy a data-only SIM card and put it into your phone. And once you put it into your phone, of course you will not have the phone call abilities or the texting abilities, but you will have a phone that can access data. And within this, you can then download apps to substitute for calling and for texting. For example, iMessage is a data-only texting service. It does not use SMS, so you could still use iMessage. Or you could download Skype and use calls from that. You could download Line, which a lot of Japanese people use, and communicate through that. The one website that I've found that has gotten pretty good reviews, and I've talked to some people in Japan, and they say it works perfectly, it has great coverage because it uses one of the local carriers in Japan, is B-Mobile, and I'll put the link in the description below. B-Mobile supplies SIM cards in which you can get unlimited data on. They charge you about 2,300 yen every 14 days. This roughly comes out to about $40 to $45 a month. And if you're going for a short trip in Japan, this is nothing compared to having to buy a phone in Japan or having to do some other convoluted way to get your phone to work in Japan. Thanks for joining me. I know this can be a really tricky subject, so I wanted to try to make a video that kind of grabbed all the information and put it together so that you at least have a starting place of maybe researching your own phone, or if you have a lot of the same situation as this, you can just go with the unlimited data plan option and just have that all taken care of and ready to go. If you have any questions, leave them below. I've done a lot of research on this issue, so I might be able to help you out. And if not, until next time, see ya.